Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Abrar and today I am going to talk on a different topic, that how scientific terms are named. I chose this topic because many of the students, they get frightened and they get very difficulty in learning and understanding the difficult scientific terms. But I would like to explain and tell you that scientific terms are based on some logic, and mostly or many times they are named on the names of scientists. So therefore, if you understand the logic behind keeping a scientific term or scientific terminology, or you understand that who were the scientists behind it in discovering or inventing this scientific term or invention, so then it will be easy for you to not only to understand it, but you are also able to memorize it and you can interpret it easily. For example, today I am using little bit biotechnology aspect to understand, to explain it. Southern analysis is a term, and as I said that many of the scientific terms are named on the name of scientist. So this Southern analysis is also named, it was developed by Edwin Southern. This is the name of a scientist. In 1975, Edwin Southern, a scientist, a researcher, first of all, he developed and introduced to identify a method, a technique to find out the sequence of DNA, a technique used to identify the sequences of DNA. So that's why it was named as Southern analysis, on the name of the scientist who introduced it. And the name of the scientist was Edwin Southern. So here I would like to mention that DNA, after DNA, when the DNA is transcribed, so it forms RNA. From DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, it forms or it is synthesized RNA. So when RNA is transcribed, so for RNA to find out the sequence of RNA, another technique was introduced later on after some years, and now it was named as Northern analysis. Now Northern analysis has nothing to do with north or northern, but why it was named? It was named because it is linked or it resembles with Southern analysis in a way that if DNA analysis, it was termed as Southern analysis. So what is the opposite of south? North. So the scientists, just in a humorous way, they kept the name from south to north. So if first technique was Southern analysis, so they named it Northern analysis, right? So Northern analysis, it is named because of its resemblance, and this technique is for identification of RNA molecules. And later on, when the sequence and the identification of proteins, it was a technique was identified, so it was named Western analysis. The first analysis technique was named on the scientist named Southern. So Southern analysis, so RNA was named Northern analysis, and then protein analysis, its sequence identification technique, it is termed as Western analysis. So northern, southern, western. However, there is nothing Eastern analysis, but maybe in future it may come that there is a technique for analysis of something Eastern analysis. It may be possible. So I am telling you how the scientific terms are named. Another thing, types of mutation. Types of mutation. Mutation, when a sudden change takes place in the DNA or in the genetic makeup, that is called mutation. So there are three types of mutation: silent mutation, nonsense mutation, and missense mutation. Silent mutation is called silent because it remains unexpressed. There is a change in the genetic code of the gene. There is a change, but due to that change, there is no expression. There is no change in the phenotype. There is no change in the expression of the gene. When the end result remains unexpressed, it means it remains silent. Mutation takes place in the genetic code, but overall in expression, in phenotype, there is no expression of it. No change takes place as a result of that mutation. So therefore the scientists, the researchers named it silent mutation because it remains silent. For instance, instead of the code C, U and U, if it changes to C, U and C, so it is said that there is no change. The amino acid will remain same, protein will remain same, and that's why this mutation will remain silent. Another type of mutation is nonsense mutation. Nonsense mutation is called nonsense because that this type of mutation, this type of change, when it takes place, so as a result, the message is not understood properly. Whatever is there in the genetic makeup, whatever there is in the gene, when it is transcribed, so it is not understood, and when it is not understood, so the protein synthesis is stopped in the ribosome. The protein synthesis is stopped in the cytoplasm, and this results in the non-functional protein. And when a non-functional protein is formed, so it means nonsense mutation because the message is not understood properly. And when the message is not understood, so the protein synthesis is stopped. Therefore, it is named nonsense mutation. The example of nonsense mutation is CFTR protein. When nonsense mutation takes place, so it results in the formation of a non-functional CFTR protein, and this results into a medical disease, cystic fibrosis, in which the liver, it starts forming fiber type of material. Now, third type of mutation is missense mutation. Missense mutation is named missense because of the fact that when the mutation takes place, so it is conveyed in a wrong way and a wrong protein is formed. And when a wrong protein is formed, so this is called missense because the message is understood wrongly There was message was A, but in the cytoplasm it was written B, for example. And the example of missense mutation is sickle cell anemia. Instead of formation of the normal, instead of the synthesis of normal hemoglobin, a defected hemoglobin is formed, and it results in the formation of sickle cell red blood cells. So this is missense mutation. Similarly, let me give you some more examples how the scientific terms are named. For example, malaria, a very common disease. Malaria, the word, it was a misconcept in the 16th century that the malaria is caused because of the bad air. The word malaria means bad air. Malaria, it is an Italian word, means bad air. The people used to think that those persons or those people who used to sleep near the marshy areas, there is a foul or bad air, and because of that bad dirty air, malaria is caused. But later on it was discovered that it is not because of the bad air, it is because of the Plasmodium, a malarial parasite, and it is because of the mosquitoes which carry this parasite. So this is the main cause of malaria. But now the word was got common, the term got common because of the bad air, malaria. Now come to another very common term, radar. So radar stands for radio detection and ranging. It is an abbreviation for radio detection and ranging. So it is a system in which the radio waves are used to detect and to locate an object, for example an aeroplane, right? Similarly, nylon is another scientific term. So many people, they used to think that nylon is the nylon is the first synthetic fiber. So this first synthetic fiber, when it was invented, so many people, they think that it is named on two cities, New York and London, right? So that's how the scientific terms are used, and there are so many scientific terms which are based on the names of scientists. For example, Archimedes principle, very famous. Archimedes principle is named on a scientist in the history, that was Archimedes. Similarly, London dispersion forces. So London dispersion forces are named on a German scientist, London, Fritz London. So these are the weak intermolecular forces. So I mean to say that do not get frightened with the scientific terms. These scientific terms are based on some logic, or they are named on the name of their scientist. So get used to it. Thank you very much.